Blood Moon Pact, Shadows of Eternity. Chapter 1. The Assignment. The rain hammered against the windows of Elara Graves' cramped apartment in New Orleans' French Quarter. Maps, photographs, and notes covered every surface, illuminated by the blue glow of her laptop. 3 empty coffee cups testified to another sleepless night tracking her latest mark. A knock at the door made her reach instinctively for the silver dagger strapped to her thigh. "It's open, Darius," she called, recognizing the distinct pattern, 3 quick taps followed by 2 slow ones. The door swung open to reveal a tall, dark-skinned man with closely cropped hair and a precisely trimmed beard. Raindrops glistened on his leather jacket as he surveyed her cluttered space disapprovingly. "You look like hell, Graves," he observed, setting down a paper bag that smelled promisingly of beignets. Always the charmer. Elara pushed away from her desk, stretching her muscles stiff from hours of research. At 32, she'd been in the bounty hunting business for almost a decade, specializing in supernatural targets most hunters wouldn't touch. Darius Jefferson had been her mentor for half that time. A former Marine turned hunter, after a werewolf attack left him the sole survivor of his unit, he'd taught her everything she knew about tracking non-human entities. "You're still obsessing over that werewolf from the bayou?" Darius asked, peering at her notes. "Closed that case yesterday." She reached for a beignet, sugar dusting her fingers. "Something bigger just came in." "How big?" "250,000. She enjoyed watching his eyebrows shoot up. "But it's complicated." "Aren't they all?" Darius settled into her only other chair. "What's the mark?" "Not what, who?" Elara pulled up a digital file. "Lucian D'Argent, missing vampire aristocrat." The image on the screen showed a striking man with sharp features, alabaster skin, and eyes so intensely blue they seemed to pierce through the photograph. His dark hair was swept back from a high forehead, revealing an intricate silver crest tattooed at his temple, the mark of vampire royalty. Darius whistled low. Vampires don't usually hire hunters to track their kind. This one's different. The client's anonymity is part of the contract. She scrolled through the file. D'Argent disappeared 3 weeks ago, reportedly with something valuable. Valuable enough for a 250,000 bounty. Apparently, she closed the laptop. "I leave tonight." Darius frowned. "Alone?" "Elara, this is vampire politics. You don't want to get caught in their power games." "I can handle it. Like you handled Prague?" His voice softened. "You almost died." She unconsciously touched the jagged scar that ran from her collarbone to shoulder, a permanent reminder of an incubus contract gone wrong. "That was different. I've gotten better. At least take Maya with you." Elara shook her head. "Maya's tracking that necromancer in Seattle. Besides, I work better alone." "That's what worries me." Darius stood, his massive frame making the apartment seem even smaller. "Promise me you'll call if things go sideways." "I promise." She lied easily. After Darius left, Elara returned to her research, studying everything available on Lucian D'Argent, which wasn't much. Heir to one of the 7 founding vampire houses, he'd kept a low profile for someone of his status. What little she could find described him as reclusive, brilliant, and potentially dangerous. The contract was simple: find him, retrieve what he'd stolen, and deliver him alive to a designated location. The danger lay in the details, or lack thereof. Who was her anonymous client? What had D'Argent stolen? Why such a massive bounty? As dusk fell, Elara packed light, weapons that worked against vampires, tracking equipment, and enough cash to grease palms for information. Her last stop before leaving was a small herbalist shop on a side street, where an ancient woman with milky eyes sold her a protective charm. "The blood moon comes," the old woman whispered as she handed over the amulet. "Beware what hunts in its light." Elara dismissed the warning as superstition. She'd never been one for prophecies or fate. She had no way of knowing how wrong she was.